due to these changes, de-enveloping into personal ownership might be a cost-effective option. The non-residents also face changes to capital gains tax on both direct and indirect disposals. De-enveloping UK properties can be typically achieved through two methods.
Hello and welcome to UK Property Accountants. My name is Chirag, an analyst here at UKPA. Joining me is Merisha Shrestha, a chartered certified accountant with the ACCA and a senior associate in our client advisory and tax team. Today we'll be taking a look and understanding exactly what de-enveloping a property means. Merisha, it is often said that holding a UK property through a limited company structure is quite advantageous when it comes to taxes. Is that really always the case?
No, that's not the case always, Chirag. While holding UK properties through a limited company was once tax efficient, it's no longer the case, particularly for non residents. Non residents now face capital gains tax, ETID, which is annual tax on envelope dwelling, and they no longer have protection from inheritance tax as well. And to add up to this, there is introduction of ROE, which is Register of Overseas Entities, which have added these companies a compliance burden as well. So due to these changes, de-enveloping into personal ownership might be a cost-effective option.
You mentioned something about de-enveloping into personal ownership. Could you please further elaborate on what de-enveloping actually means?
Yeah. So de-enveloping is similar to unwrapping in simple terms. So it's a process of removing UK property from a limited company structure, often offshore companies, and transferring it into personal ownership. So by doing this, the non-residents can reduce their tax liabilities and simplify their ownership structure. But again, it's essential to weigh the benefits against the cost and legal implications.
In the last few years, there have been quite a few tax and regulatory changes being introduced, which now makes de-enveloping a property a more preferred option. What are some of these regulatory changes brought for non-residents?
It all began in 2013 with the introduction of annual tax on envelope dwelling, ATID, which imposes an annual charge to companies which holds UK properties. Currently, the ATID charge is £4,400 minimum. Then the non-residents also face changes to capital gains tax on both direct and indirect disposals of UK residential property. And then in 2017, the reforms extended to inheritance tax. Therefore, these offshore entities were also now in the scope of inheritance tax if they hold UK residential properties. Then recently, the 2022 Economic Crime Act introduced the Register of Overseas Entities, which requires these overseas companies to register the beneficial owner's details, which just adds up a compliance burden. So you see how these regulatory changes have made de-enveloping a preferred option.
And Merisha, how does one go about, or what is the exact process of de-enveloping a property?
De-enveloping UK properties can be typically achieved through two methods. One is distribution or dividend in specie, and another one is liquidation or winding up. So, in distribution in specie or dividend in specie, the property is transferred to the shareholders as dividend, and in terms of tax implications, there might be some corporation tax for the company, but for the shareholders, there is generally no additional tax implications. And if we have to talk about stamp duty land tax, if there is no consideration, then there is no stamp duty land tax. And also to give you another method, which is the liquidation or winding up. As the word suggests, it's closing down the company and distributing the assets to the shareholders as a capital distribution. Again, in this method as well, there might be some corporation tax for the company, and if there's no consideration, there's no stamp duty land tax.
You mentioned two methods of de-enveloping a property. Which of the two is more preferred?
There is no one preferred option. It all depends on the tax implications and cost associated with it as well. So, as we are talking about non-residents primarily, non-residents usually do the de-enveloping via distribution in specie or dividend in specie, because the liquidation method involves the liquidation cost, which can be quite high.
One last question, Merisha. When deciding to de-envelop a property, is there anything that an individual should consider or pay attention to?
Yes, given the tax implications and the cost associated with it from both legal point of view and financial point of view, the UK residents as well as the non-residents who are considering de-enveloping, they need to seek professional advice so that they can ensure that the de-enveloping process is smooth and they are optimizing their tax position to the utmost.
Thank you so much, Merisha. You've been a great help as always. Just like Merisha mentioned, it is always advised to seek professional help when going through the de-enveloping process for maximum efficiency and tax optimization. If you or anyone else you know is looking to de-envelop their property, do not hesitate to contact us for a free 15-minute discovery call, where we will ascertain your situation and let you know of the services that best suit your needs. Thank you and have a great day ahead.